Hello everyone, this is Priyanka. Welcome to my channel Priyanka's IT School. Today I'm going to discuss about Locator. So Locator Part 2. So in the last session, I have covered different strategies or different techniques which you can follow to automate your software application, right? So to interact with any web element, you first need address of that web element, and that's called locator in Selenium. Selenium support total 8 locators. So we have already discussed about this part. Like there are total 8 locators available in the Selenium. And even we have discussed in the last session about only first locator, that is the ID. ID is the most common, even it is the most primary locator, guys. So now today let's understand some another application where you will able to understand how to use any ID or a name locator. Then one by one in every session, I will be covering different locators and their main purpose. So today let's understand a different application for automation. So I'll be taking this login page where you can see we need to enter email ID, we need to enter password, even you can interact with checkbox, and we need to click on submit button. So let's try to understand how to automate this application using Selenium primary locator. Again, ID. Even we can follow name locator. So guys, very first step in our automation script, we are going to prepare a new test case, correct? So first of all, let me open our project under locator. I'm creating today a new test case. So just click on class and here you can write second test case name. Let's say locator demo 2. I will be taking main function 2. First step in Selenium, you need to start with your session. So create driver session. That's the first step. Let's create WebDriver interface. We are writing here driver reference variable for the interface, new, and the Chrome driver. So guys, this is the first step where you can simple launch your browser, right? And this is what will help you to create our session with Selenium WebDriver. So let's import WebDriver from Selenium package. I will be importing Chrome driver again, same from the Selenium package. Let's first open application with the help of get command. So definitely you need to write driver.get and pass complete URL. So let me take this URL and I will enter here, correct? Now after opening this, we need to interact with three fields. Let's say we need to interact with email address first, then we need to interact with password. Even I will be interacting with checkbox too. And then I will be click on submit button. So guys, adding comments while writing automation script, that's again a best practice to follow. Okay. Now let's see how we can interact. So as I told you, this is a simple web element for us. We can easily understand this UI. But for Selenium, we need to pass address of this web element. So how you are able to get the address? Guys, address you can directly capture through the DOM. And for that reason, you need to first inspect that particular element. Correct? So what we can do, right click on that element and you can just do inspect. Even there are ready-made tools available in the market. I will be giving you overview for that tool also. But very first, I'm expecting that everybody should learn with the basics. How to interact with web element by using the DOM. Because here you will able to learn some more technique to automate that element. And then even we have a latest tool available in the market, that is Selector Hub. If you can install Selector Hub, if you can add that plugin into browser, you can guys easily automate any web element. But let me show you all the steps very first manually, and then I will simply explain again through the Selector Hub how you can interact with that element. So in Selector Hub, you will be getting locators ready-made. Okay. But now here I will try to explain you the base process. So please understand now, if I want to interact with email ID, let's use this arrow, inspection arrow, and just click on that particular element. Now you can see here the code is highlighted, right? This is the code which is highlighted for that email address. What the element you can see, say I'm having ID, I'm having name, even there is a class name. But you know what? Very first you need to choose primary locator only. If there is a ID, by default, you can directly follow the ID element, or you can simple go to name also. So I will be selecting here that particular ID element, and let's write our automation script. At this moment, you can follow any technique, whatever we have discussed in the previous video, right? So generally, I will be writing here a complete web element, and at the same time, I would like to perform action on that web element. So guys, that's the reason I will start with driver dot. Now, as it is a single level a web element, we can use find element method. Then we need to use a by class, correct? By class through which you can get that locator. Currently, I want to pass ID. Inside this ID, you can paste your entire value. Here you can see we need only value. So rest of the part I'm going to remove, which is not required. So attribute value only we need to pass in this address. And then immediately I want to perform action. But this web element, which is a text box where we need to pass certain data, right? So I will be writing here a very simple method that's called send keys. Let me add send keys and I'm passing here data. Let's say I'm using this email ID test@gmail.com, and this is what my action. So here I'm trying to identify that web element, and here I'm trying to perform action onto that web element. Okay, let's try with next important password command. I mean, how to automate password field. Let's again inspect the password. See the process. Again, you have ID, you have name. Let me try this time with name. Let's copy that name, and I will be writing the same step, driver. Again, I will ask a driver to find element. Which element? Just put that address, which is name. Here you can pass that value. Let's again keep only attribute value. Then you can use again method. Which method, guys? Which action we need to perform on password? Again, we are performing, we are passing certain data. So I will be using send keys. Here I'm writing a password test123. And this is how you can interact with the password field too. Now let me show you for checkbox. Here in the UI, you can see we have one more element to interact. That is a remember me checkbox. If I really want to check it, let's click and let's identify the address. So click on that particular, that box where you can see the address. And again, you can see we have a very primary locator available, that is ID. So at this moment, I can copy that value directly and I can write here again a same script, driver, again do find element, by dot, let's take ID, and here we are passing that ID. And yes, now tell me the action which we can perform for the checkbox. It is just a click. So guys, here also we can follow the same action. That's a click. And after that, we can continue with our next step. So while writing your automation script, write each and every step and try to run it also. And then you can able to debug the code too. Like example, if it is getting failed, you will get to know on which step it is getting failed. Correct? So try to write a script, try to execute the same. Now before submit, let me execute first. Let me check whether these three steps are completed successfully or not. And then I will show you the code again for the next step. So let's run the same. Now you can see browser got launch, and yes, all three steps completed successfully. Here you can see in the output. Now I would like to click on this button. So again, guys, I'm closing the browser. Let me go back to the original browser. Let's inspect that button too. See the code. Again, we have ID. Again, we have name. Even we have class name also. Now here, the one more interesting locator. Let me explain. That is a class name. Somewhere class name, we cannot say it is a primary one. But you know what? Somewhere class name, there might be a possibility that developer have implemented multiple web elements by following the same class name. So somewhere you will get class name in this way. Now let me explain here a class name scenario. You can follow directly ID. It will work. Definitely it will work. But let me show you with the class name locator. What is the problem with the class name? So first point, this is a complete class name, right? Suppose I will copy this. And as per our simple technique, we can write a scope, we can write a script here like driver to find element by, I can follow here class name. And then here I can write that complete class name. Okay, again as per the rule, we just need a value. So currently, if I just add this complete value as it is a button, so we can directly click on it. So here if I just perform click step, now you can see what will happen. If I just do perform click, we are expecting that it should click on the button. But let me tell you here exact fact. What is happening, guys? Currently, if you notice this class name, even I can show you here in the notepad. Just have a look. This is I'm covering for class name, some tricks and some important note. If you observe, this is the class name. Currently, in this class name, in this value, how many values you can see? Guys, there are three values available. This is a first class name, this is a second class name, and this is a third class name. So why it is so? Because there is a possibility that multiple web element designed with the same class name. And for that reason, somewhere you might have only one class name in the value, or somewhere you will get this kind of scenario where you can see multiple class names are there. So BTN, BTN default, and BTN primary. These are three class name available for this scenario, correct? But as per a rule, if you directly copy this complete value and if you try to automate this element, immediately from Selenium, you will get an exception that compound class names are not permitted by Selenium. And because of this, because in a group, you cannot pass here every class name to the Selenium. So guys, what we need to do for that? Let me first show you the exception and then I'll explain you the solution for the same. So let's go back and let's run our script. So see, I'm just trying to click on that button, but see the issue. At this moment, your all previous steps get completed. So it will enter email ID, password, and the checkbox. But just observe, I'm still on the same page because we got exception, invalid selector exception. And the message is what? See, I'm getting here. Compound class names are not permitted by the Selenium. Can you see this? Compound class names not permitted. So basically exception, we are having that invalid selector exception. I will copy this for your reference and I will maintain it here. So why this is happening? First point. This is happening because we have entered here all three class names together, and which is wrong. Selenium never allow you to accept all three class names together or multiple class names together. So guys, there is a one solution. First of all, you need to understand and you need to identify which class name is a primary class name here or which class name is a valid class name here. And based on that valid class name, you can only add that valid class name and you can automate that particular functionality. So guys, how you will get to know which one is valid? So this is the value. You can copy this. Come back to DOM. Inside a DOM, you need to use a shortcut key, Control F, that is Finder. Go to the Finder. Here you can paste that particular value. See, currently I'm getting what? One of one match. So means these three elements matching with the same web element, that is a submit button. But as per a rule, we cannot add all three class names together. So you have to check which one is valid. So one by one, you can delete any class name and you can check with that. Okay, which class name you can use? Only one because we need to use. Example C. If I just keep BTN, still it is highlighting that button. Yes. If I remove the BTN, if I just use BTN default, now you can see still it is highlighting the same element. See, on this page only one element is available. So now there is no problem. You can use this. Okay. Even if I remove this and if I can follow only BTN primary, still I'm able to highlight the same button. So that means we got that one class name which is valid and all three are valid, but we can't write at a time. So the best practice is what? Just take only one class name, go back to the script, Now, for your reference, I'm going to comment this line, which is through which we are getting exception. And here I'm writing my next statement. Driver dot find element by dot, let's say class name. Here I'm writing that class name, BTN primary, write a proper value. And then guys, I'm trying to click. Let's see. This time I'm passing a one class name, which is valid. So this is a manual step you need to do. You need to identify which class name is valid, and then only that class name you can pass while locating that element. So the best practice is, if there is a ID available, if there is a name available, follow the name and follow the ID. Try to avoid class name, because sometimes compound class names are available in the script, and that is not again accepted by the Selenium. So let me show you the execution for current script. Now you can see it will load the page and it will perform every step. And this is how we are able to automate our web element using ID, using name, and even using class name locator. And here we have learned a very common exception with respect to class name. That is, compound class name is not permitted, invalid selector exception. So guys, this is how you need to understand a small tricks while automating any software application. So today in this video, we have discussed about ID locator, name locator, and the class name. So that's all for today. Please follow the session. Happy learning. Thank you so much for watching the video.